Continuing with the Area 51 UFO by Pegasus models. In the last video I posted, I completed masking off these sections here of the upper hull section, and I've decided what I'm going to do with these light gray areas as far as painting them. So I've moved on right now to the lower hull of the UFO. I've completed painting the bottom and assembling the landing gear. So what I've done here, I've done a number of different things here. I shot the lower hull in the same paint I used for the upper. Okay, that was graphite gray metallic by Testers. Looks pretty nice. I put a couple of coats on there. Let that dry for 48 hours too. It seems to really need 48 hours to really dry and be slick to the touch. The landing gear, what I did there was I shot it with black metallic paint by Testers, and then lightly dusted it with graphite gray, the same color as the hull, which gave it kind of a muted black appearance. It may not show up as well in this video, but nevertheless, that's what I did, and it turned out really good. The center section here, this iris portion, what I did was I masked off the hull, and then I shot the inside portion with the graphite gray, and then I lightly dusted over the top of that graphite gray while it was wet with gloss metallic silver, and it really produced a nice effect. Not real shiny, but kind of like a semi-gloss, almost a semi-to matte finish aluminum look with a little bit of sparkle. So you'll notice this little green dome in the middle here, this little green light. Okay, here's the inside. What I did was, these are the parts that are used for the upper hull, the dome, and then there are individual lenses that go around the craft, which I'll install later. Well, that was all on a parts tree, of course, and so I took that parts tree, and what I did was I took a portion of it, like you see right here, this little rounded section. I drilled a hole through this hull, sanded this upper section of this little piece of plastic, this from the parts tree, smooth, coated it with gloss clear coat, and then I inserted it into the hole, creating this really nice little green domed effect. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go in here with my Dremel tool, and I'm going to lower that, flatten it out, and kind of not so much buff it up, but at least take off all the rough edges, and then I'll buff that flat surface up later. But this is what it would look like when it gets lit up with my light kit. It'll show us a nice little green dome. And that all came as a result of just, you know, thinking outside the box and looking inside the box and coming up with a cool idea to fabricate a dome light on the bottom of the UFO where there wasn't one. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to remove this little nub of plastic right here in the center. And I'm going to use my Dremel stylus. If you've never seen one of these, or you don't have one of these, this is a great tool to have. It's a pistol grip tool. Has a little cutoff wheel, kind of a flexible cutoff wheel, and kind of an abrasive end, like an abrasive disc. They don't make this anymore, but they are available online, eBay and other sources. Great tool. Has a variable speed from 10 to 1. Just awesome. I tell you what, it makes modeling a lot easier to have this tool. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to cut off this little green nub and flatten it out more. Better get some glasses on. Better get some glasses on here. Okay. And hopefully you'll be able to see this. Okay, so that took that right off, and what I've got is some plastic material built up on the edge here. I'm going to let that cool. Right now it's a little bit soft. I'm going to let that cool, and then I'm going to snap it off, and I'll have to grind down a little bit more. Here's the piece that I just removed right here. Okay, I'll take this right in here, break off the hardened plastic, and then I'll go in here and I will take off all the rough edges. Okay, so probably will lose focus here if I move it too close. Anyhow, you get the idea. I knocked it down, took off all the rough edges, and so what I'm going to do is I'm going to just buff it up a little bit more, take off a few more rough edges. Okay, so I'm happy with how that looks. So what I'll do now is I'll probably take some sandpaper or a little piece of a sanding sponge like this here, and I'll go in here and just lightly sand this down in here, further just smoothing down any burrs and rough edges. Not that you're going to see it, not that you're going to even touch it, but I want to just take off all the rough edges on that. And then what I'm going to do is I'm going to get some clear fingernail polish. This happens to be hard as nails. And then I'm going to just put some on top of here like this. Watch. I'm going to coat that top. I'm going to coat the sides. And that's going to give this piece of plastic a really nice transparent lens-like effect. And so when my light kit gets installed, and it's going to be installed right over the top of this, it'll actually assemble right in the middle. You're going to have a nice little green light shining through just like that. And yeah, the light kit, what I'm going to do here is I've gotten some more pieces from another model, a 196 scale Apollo 11 lunar module, command module. So I got some leftover parts from an old model, and what I'm going to do is I'm going to build a tripod using this piece of plastic, and I'll use either the forward or aft bulkhead of the service module as a platform to set my LED lights in the circuit board on. The most important thing is that these LEDs stick out beyond this little silver plate here. Stick out beyond that so they flash down underneath and around the green light. I'm going to paint the entire inside of this lower section white, and the same thing with the upper hull so that it reflects maximum amount of light. But it should work out really well. So primarily this is done. I'm just going to let that fingernail polish dry on there. Everything else is done on the bottom. It turned out pretty nice. Later on, I'm going to decide whether I want to shoot this whole thing with like a matte clear coat to knock down that shiny glossy look if I don't like it. If it's, some people say it looks too toyish or you know, too shiny, but it's a UFO. I mean, you know, I guess traditionally they look shiny unless they're, you know, crash damaged or something. I don't know really what's the right way to go with it, but I think it looks really nice in its shiny configuration. I think I may just keep it that way. Anyhow, the lights are going to be really cool when they go on, and this little green lens I put in here turned out awesome. Really happy with that. So anyhow, so the next time I will be hopefully installing the light kit.